Seats. And if you are leaving, let me invite you to be gone. Again, I hope you're not going far, just to the fellowship hall so we can gather and eat together as the people. And so, at our annual meeting, we have, in this particular meeting, we have three things to do. The first is to elect new officers, our elders, our deacons, and those representatives of the nominating committee. The second is to hear changes in terms of call for me, and then to vote on those. And then the third is to receive our budget. Normally, Mark Gordon would be here presenting the first two things, but if you know Mark, you know that he needs 12 or 13 hours of sleep a night and did not get it last night, so I get the privilege of speaking on his behalf. So pretend for a minute that I am Mark and I am presenting first the new slate of officers, and they are as follows. They're the ones that are highlighted. So in the class of 2024 for session, it will be Carl Vlogger, who will serve as property chair. In the class of 2026, Megan Johnson, Terry Beeler, and Ray and Stone, and Mark Gordon. For our deacons, it will be Tammy Ivan, Janice Eastis, and Carolyn Hadaway. And for the nominating committee, it will be Jeannie Kelly and Debbie Burley. We sent that out to you by email this week. Do y'all need me to run through those names again? Okay? So this comes from committee. It doesn't need a second. What I do now, according to our policy, is I open the floor for other nominations, if there are any. Seeing none, let me assume that the nominations then will be closed, and I will ask for a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Those who have been elected, we welcome you and we celebrate you, and we will make sure that word is spread. I'm going to invite Doug Casimir, who is our treasurer, to come and speak about first my terms of call. We'll vote on that, and then the budget. All right, brother.
Test one.
Oh, you want me to use that one? Okay.
Test.
You didn't trust her?
No, I just thought it'd
You
be
just
fun.
wanted to say it?
I thought it'd be fun, you know. I never got to do that before. Okay, what am I supposed to do?
So you're talking first about my, so go back a slide. First, my terms of call. Another slide. Okay. And just a 3% raise.
Yeah. Well, are you supposed to be here?
I can leave.
Okay. First of all, his terms of call, it's recommended that we increase his salary and housing allowance by 3%. I don't know how to do that. Bigger than Mike, how's that? Well, I get all kind of echo back here. It bothers me. I don't know. But increases the salary housing allowance by 3%, which is standard cost of living. And this would be the first increase that we had for Pastor Chris, since he started with us in 2021. So that's what's recommended. Hello? And where do we go from here?
That's it.
Okay.
Okay. So the congregation votes, stay because you might have to talk more. The congregation votes on my term of call, so you either approve it or turn it down. That is y'all. It doesn't need a second because it's coming from committee. I am free to leave if y'all want to talk about me and my salary, or we can vote. Just tell me what your wishes are, and we are good. You just can't vote until I come back in, because I'm a moderator. I get the power. I can keep you here forever, no. Okay? All in favor, say aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Y'all, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Now you get to speak about the budget.
Well, I've been told to speak fast so we can get to lunch. Okay. First slide I have up there. First I'd like to do a stewardship summary for 2023. The income that came in, again, is the actual income came in at $335,443, which was about what we forecasted, $336. However, the operating expenses came in at $378,566, a little bit under budget by about $5,800, but it meant, unfortunately, that was a lot more than our income, so we had a net loss from our operations of a little over $43,000. The good news is that there was a third COVID relief program that came to my attention. I want to thank two people, Rusty Fisher and Ann Stone. Rusty put me onto that early on, and I looked at it and I misunderstood it, and I only thought, well, that might mean an extra $3,000 or $4,000, so I kind of put it on the back burner, but I was going to do it. Then Ann Stone opened my eyes up and said, no, it's going to be a lot more than that. So it came out 10 times what I thought it was going to be. So we received another $33,000 from the COVID relief program, and that's the third one over the last 4 years that we received. So from the COVID relief programs of the three, we received over $99,000 over the last 4 years, which was very helpful. However, we still ended up having a net loss of $9,970. People give to the building fund in addition to the operating budget, and that's always very, very important to us. And that's came in at $12,900. Next slide. I'd like to review where we are in our cash position at this point as of the end of the year. How am I doing holding this thing? Am I doing okay? Okay. At the end of the year, we had cash on hand of $67,555. We have what I call special funds, that balances that, basically kind of like liabilities, such as the building fund, such as the concert fund balance, memorial funds, the bookbinder endowment. I'll go into this a little bit more, but distribution from that. So we need to reserve for those to cover those balances, and those balances come in at $68,000. So that means our net cash surplus, which is our, free cash reserves to help us out. Well, that's been depleted, and even though we received that COVID money over the last 4 years, we also still had been running deficits. And even though the COVID relief money made a big dent in that, it didn't really cover the entire deficit over those 4 year period. So it has basically depleted our cash reserves going forward. So with that, all that being said, let's go over to the next slide, which would be the 2024 budget. In trying to forecast income, I used the same as what we basically have seen the last 2 years of income, about $336,000. I hope that's conservative. I think it is. But our budgeted expenses actually are coming in at $398,258, and which would result in a net operating loss, another loss of $62,000. Which I put in there worst case, because we usually come in under our expenses like we did last year, a few $1,000s. And my hope is our income will increase to reduce that deficit. I'm really thinking that our deficit may be coming around a $40,000 to $50,000 level. However, as I just mentioned earlier, that our cash reserves to be able to draw on to help cover those expenses, the debt deficit has been depleted. 91% of our budget is in property and operations and personnel expenses, where there's really little room to maneuver or adjust. We do our best to try to keep the expenses in line, but it's like playing whack-a-mole. They pop up, you hit them down, and you try, but they don't seem to budge. Another one pops up, you hit that one down. So we all know and experience all the rise in cost of things over the last few years, and your church home here has also felt those increases. The real solution going forward this year and in the future is really find ways to increase our income. And of course, our income comes from giving. And so we need to do that to be able to continue to be who we are and what we do. Now, there's a different way to look at this, and I think it's the good news, is that what our current income, that 336 we forecast, represents 85% of what we need. So if you look at it that way, we need just an additional 15% giving, giving income. That's doable. Together, if we work together and just increase, on average, as a family, 15%, we can do it, and it can be done. So my message here is let's rally together and make it happen, okay? When putting this together, this is not a slide, just my notes, okay? Because I need a crutch, okay? When preparing for this presentation, some thoughts came to my mind. It's just not about these dollars in the budget. That is what allows us to do what we do and be who we are. Riverside has been a Christian pillar in this community for 68 years. In thinking about that, then that brought to mind Rebecca Burns' presentation last fall on how much Riverside has meant to her basically her entire life since she was a small child here, growing up in this church. And I think your parents probably were close to being founding members of the church. And how much love she has for this church. And I would like to say your church family loves you right back. This is quite an inspiration listening to her, and she's just such a great example of who we are. I really was concerned about asking for an increase in giving from when I know how generous all our church family is. Then I remembered when I was a young, and what my mother would say when I was struggling, and you probably mothers would say the same thing, count your blessings, okay? So my first blessing I want to talk about is I think we're very fortunate to have Pastor Chris and Becky and their family as part of our church family. I really enjoy his sermons, the way he kind of dissects those passages and explains those, at least goes in each sentence and, weaves it into his message and delivers a very positive, uplifting message. And he does so without referring to any daggum notes. I use daggum because that's Bartow talk. Right? I love it. It's really amazing. He certainly has a gift for teaching and really demonstrates some really strong leadership here. And he does all this with a very positive, energetic, and upbeat manner with quite a bit of humor mixed in. Okay? Blessed to have the Carsons here. No. That's 2 golf rounds and lunch. I'm working on the 3rd, okay? But I'm very serious about that. The other thing I thought about is our sanctuary. We have a beautiful, peaceful sanctuary where we can gather together to worship, prayer, and offer praise to the Lord. Very fortunate to have such a facility. Our music program leads us in praising the Lord through music and song. Thankful for all their dedication and hard work. To do that every week in here, it takes a lot of work and practice. You know what? And there's not too many organ players around anymore, and Diana does a wonderful job, and we're very thankful to have her. All the Bible study programs that are done throughout the week, on Sundays, during the week, Lenten series, and I think about the Education Commission and all the studies they offer, mission activities, Family Promise, which you're doing right now, We're involved in Children Hunger Project, mission giving through our local charities. Many goes to local charities through our endowment program, which I'll touch base on in a few minutes. Presbyterian Women Organization. Check out the annual budget. I mean, they do an awful lot of things too. That is quite amazing. And in the annual booklet, it really goes into a lot of description about what all the commissions do. It's amazing what all things are accomplished and done with our commissions. And that is a lot of you folks who do all this. The fellowship we enjoy and what all the fellowship commission does, and the fellowship hall facility we have, the care and support commission and all that they do for folks. Concert series, what an awesome gift and outreach to our community. And a lot of effort goes by a lot of folks to be able to pull those concerts off. And you know what's the good news about that? Those concerts are self-funding. The donations the concerts fund receives covers their costs. It doesn't affect the operating budget. Then recently we had some benefit concerts that raised money to help the Uganda kids. The list goes on. And what my point is that this really defines who we are and what we do. And the budget's just a way to make it all happen, And bottom line is, this is an awesome church. We just need an additional little 15%. Let's take a look at, what I'd like to do next is to kind of take a look at a program that some of you may know about, but maybe some of you don't, that can maybe help in increasing giving. Especially, and it's for those folks who are 70 and a half and older. And I say us. I'm included in that age group. It's called a Qualified Charitable Distribution, QCD for short, and I'll refer to QCD from now on. But it's a way of withdrawing from a taxable retirement account. And again, it's for people who are 70 and a half years or older who have these retirement accounts. You can donate up to $105,000 for 2024 directly to charities, and it's tax-free. Now, when you're 70 and a half, you're required to withdraw from your retirement account, and it's taxable because it's a taxable IRA, right, or a retirement account. So you have to pay taxes on it. But you can use this qualified QCD to make your distribution say to Riverside, and you save on your taxes. Okay, that's the beauty of the whole thing. Whereas, it will satisfy that what they call a required minimum distribution (RMD). When you're 70 and a half, you have to do that. So that's the key point of this thing. So I'd like to share with you an example of how that can work for you and for Riverside. Let's say you want to give $1,000 to RPC. Okay, and the first column is, you're 70 and a half, you have to take money out, but because you're required to, the RMD. So to get to let's go down the first column first. So you take out $1,200. Let's say your tax bracket, say your taxes are $200, was about a 17% rate. So you net out the $1,000 and you write a check out of your banking account and give it to Riverside. Now, if you do the QCD method, you take out the same $1,200, but you have no tax liability. Now, instead of paying the IRS the $200, give it to Riverside. You just increased your giving 20%. This is the beauty of the QCD. So if that fits for y'all, take a look at that. It's an awesome program. In the words of our friend Bob Howard, it's a wonderful thing. We've heard that before, right? Okay. And lastly, I would like to touch base on our endowment program. Many of you know about it, some of you may not, but the church has a Riverside endowment account where many, folks that passed on in the past have given us some legacy gifts to the total amount of the gifts of $420,000. At the end of the year, that balance is now $602,000. So we had a very nice increase over the years, and that's net of the annual distribution received from that. we received 3.5% of that balance beginning 2024, at the end of 2023. In January, then we'll take 3.5% of that balance. That's by bylaws to be able to use some of the income, from the endowment to help support the church. So in 2000, so we received just recently we received $21,000 from that 3.5% distribution. $9,000 went to mission fund giving. That's endowment mission fund giving. And an equal amount, $9,000 went to a capital improvement fund. And that's for building and equipment needs of the church. And also $2,800 went to the music program. Our bylaws state that if a gift is over $30,000, then the donor can direct where they want the income to go to, okay? Designate where the income goes to. So Janet Borman, many years ago when she passed away, she was an active member of church for decades in the music program. I think she was the director of music for a long while as well. And so their wish was for the money to be used for the music program. So that's in 2000. So this year we received $2,800 to help support the music program. Total distribution since 2007, and I use 2007 because that's when we started receiving distributions from the endowment program. Total distribution received was $223,000 to help support the church and the mission giving of the church. Now, next slide would be a bookbinder endowment. This is independently managed. This is not the other Riverside endowment is managed by the church and has access to those funds. Bookbinder endowment, the bookbinders, when they passed away, they set up a trust for Riverside, and that was back in 2008 or 9 time frame. And so we receive annual distribution from that trust. And this year, and this is what it's been running the last few years, of $23,350. 75% is in their trust. Instructions should go to mission-type activities and giving. The other 25% goes out of our operating budget. So every year we get $5,800 to help our operation. In review, then, the last slide I will present. Am I on that slide? Oh, yeah, I am on that slide. Okay, so what's available, the endowment balance is available for 2024. In the mission side of things, from the Riverside endowment, we have a balance going into the year of $17,899. The bookbinder endowment monies fund that we have available is $31,760 for a total of almost $50,000 that we have for mission giving and mission activities. And again, many of that giving is done to local charities and local organizations such as the food banks and et cetera to help our local community. 2023, the spending was $32,600. Okay, on capital fund balance, in that middle column, we received, our balance right now is $9,404. Total spending in 2023 was $27,383 out of this endowment program. We had a major roof repair over here between Knox and Calvin that cost us quite a lot of money, okay? Luckily, because of this endowment program, we did not have to worry about taking that out of the operating side of things or coming to the congregation and say, we need more money to fix the roof, So the endowment took care of that for us. Also, the beautification we did with the river rock and the planting was part of that $27,000 worth of spending. Again, that didn't affect our operating budget. That's the beauty of the endowment program. Okay, it really helps the church. The music program, we have a balance of $15,000 in there that's accumulated over the years. And in 2023, we spent almost $4,300. And in summary, since we began receiving the income and spending it, the total spending between these 2007 and 2023, the mission support spending, $340,000 from the endowment programs. Capital improvements, almost $106,000. That's for building and equipment needs of the church. Again, that is separate from the operating budget. That's how much this endowment program has meant to the church. So, my pitch is consider leaving a legacy gift. And you can do it now if you like. Okay? Anyway, that's what I have for you all today.
Good. Let's pray and let's go eat. We thank you for, again and again, the gifts that you offer in the many ways that you do. We thank you for the opportunity to be together as a family and think about our heritage, think about the ministry we have done, and hope together about the ministry that is still to come. We thank you for food that we are about to receive and the hands that have prepared it. We just ask that you continue to strengthen us so we can do your work. In your name we pray. Amen. Eat away. We'll see y'all soon over there. Thank you, sir.